see us up live, so this is awesome. I'm so happy. I like your studio back there, bruh. That's working.
Thanks, man.
I'm trying to catch up to you, so
I
I'm
gotta
getting
make it do what it do,
my
baby.
Bitcoin game going tight. You know, uh, just making my little money off of Bitcoins. I'm gonna get your opinion off of that too. So, we are up live, and today my special guest is Delano A. Johnson. Name sounds popular. We're gonna pay homage to Sir Delano Johnson. He is an author and brand architect, and I'm gonna let you give us the opportunity to tell us that too. Who will discuss his book and how to avoid being talented and broke. So, everyone, welcome to the show, a WNBA State of Mind, where we mainly discuss basketball, but we love other sports. Today, we have a all-star cast of ballers, which makes for a great show. Thanks for joining us today. We will give the audience the opportunity to ask questions throughout the show. Delano, please introduce yourself, but first, you have to tell us your basketball story, because I know you got one.
Oh man, who doesn't have a basketball story, man? Everybody got a basketball story. Mine started in the Bahamas when I was around 16 years old. I tried out for the basketball team, made it. I only played about 2 games, and I decided that I was gonna be a musician. I was gonna be a musician. But my brother, who we used to call him McAdoo, on the basketball court, really got me into it. Watching the Lakers, he's a big Lakers fan. I was a big Lakers fan. Kobe all the way, LA, and and listen, I used to actually hang in the doorway so I could grow, right? Upside down, grow my arms and all of this until one day I was able to dunk. Before that, I used to put a barrel, right, and just pop off of the barrel so I could dunk. But around probably by the end of my senior year, I could dunk on a regular NBA height rim. So I was persistent. No, I was persistent. And I could have really gone far, but that music bug got me, man. And so I was a Michael Jordan fan, straight up, straight up, straight up, all the way, all the way. Had the first ones, some crisp ones my brother gave me, crisp condition. Then I got the twos all the way up to sixes. So yeah, man, that's always loved the game, always loved the game.
Got me over here coughing because I started laughing. The water went right down my throat.
Oh God,
That's funny. I mean, you look slim. How tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
See, you do. You look like you got a little bit of height on you. You look like you had a little bit of game. I see how you.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. How to shake and bake. You know what I mean? I got a little jumper. Listen, I pat my game after Jordan. Post post his mid range game because he had no mid range game when he first started. Everything was either on the inside or or on the 3 point. So, but yeah, I really focused on the game, and Jordan was the man, man. But if hey, I was one of those guys who thought, listen, I was in the Bahamas and we didn't have stores where you can actually purchase the sneakers. I actually had to buy a plane ticket to fly to Miami, stay with my brothers, and go and hunt for those sneakers. So I'm the first person on the island that have it. Yo, I was no, I was a straight up fan. I was a straight up fan. Today, my son is a sneakerhead, probably because of me. But he's a sneakerhead, and what I get for Christmas present from him is like the best Jordans or sneakers. Like he got me I think there were some eights. I think, yeah. So that's how it is, man, all the way.
I knew you had a basketball story. And you had your swag. Always tell some ball, by the way. You know. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know how the game is. Game, no game. You know what I mean? Game, recognized game, girl.
always. So Delano, great story. How have you been handling COVID? Like, how have you been handling it? First, I want you to introduce yourself, you know,
Yeah.
and tell people, a little bit about yourself. I'm interviewing right now Delano A. Johnson. You know, he is an author and a brand architect, and you have to elaborate on brand architect. That's
Yeah,
I was I was trying to elaborate on the word. I looked it up, but I want to hear it from you.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so basically, my name is Delano. Of course, I'm originally from the Bahamas, grew up there, lived there, came here in the U.S. around 95, actually moved to San Antonio. And then, yeah, right. I moved to San Antonio, and then from there came to New York, and I've been between New York and New Jersey ever since. So that was about 1996. And so, always creative, grew up always wanting to use my creative abilities. I had a really good family who basically encouraged my creativity. My mom always encouraging my creativity, and so it was just an awesome environment to actually be in, where people enforced and allow me that space to create. So got married and was in the music industry for some time, Grammy nominated, young guy, 19, 18, 19, 20, 21, touring the world and doing all the things that I love to do, opening for Earth, Wind and Fire, BB&CC Winans, just an awesome time as a teenager, And so after I got married, I kind of settled down. I toured. I did an album and toured for just a little bit, but then I had to settle down in the family life, and so I pulled on a few of some of those other gifts, and created a graphic design company, and it grew from there into identity development, and then branding, and now it's considered a brand architect. 25 years in the business, and so basically a brand architect is someone who actually helps you to build your brand from all levels, from the psychological, from the demographics, from the visual communications, I come in and actually help you to determine what your brand is, what your core message is, what your core value is, and then we go and we take those things to market, right? We use visual communication to take those things to market. So the architect is the person that creates the blueprints. So the blueprint of your brand is what I create, as well as the implementation of your brand in the market. So that's what basically what I do today, and a whole host of other stuff.
Yeah, see, you put it all in a nutshell because, it's funny, when I first heard your voice, I thought you were from Boston.
Ah, yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely do in your enunciation, pronunciation, the whole thing, the phonetics, everything.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. The car,
yeah,
you
that's
driving the car,
freaking out. Oh, maybe he's from Boston, but no, you set me free and let us know that you're from the Bahamas. And rolling back to that question, but before we do that, you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I have Delano A. Johnson on here, author and brand architect. Fantastic, man. Let's talk creative. But first, what motivated you over the past few years?
Yeah. Woo, that was a good question. I think the motivation for me always been, and even from the time I was a kid, my dad did extremely well on the island. He was the food and beverage manager and the executive chef for two of the major hotels on the island. We grew up listening to his name, being on the radio, being announced as the best chef in the Bahamas. He was a chef for the prime minister. And so we could go to the hotels, and there was always this thing of being, Chef Johnson kids. When we walked on any one of the properties, they just opened up the world to us. We could go in the pool when nobody else could. All these different things, man. And so I always felt like there was a sense of, I want my kids to feel what I'm feeling right now. And so I've always been thinking legacy, 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 legacy. So for me, I started out thinking about my first son. I started out thinking about my daughter. I started out thinking about my second son. I started out thinking about my kids. And so when I got married, I told my wife, "Listen, my first child gonna be a boy." Like, I had it all planned out, and exactly that's what happened. The first son came out as a boy, and then we had a second son, and I had a daughter. So I lived the dream, and making sure that they understood that they came from legacy of people who were entrepreneurs and creative individuals. Because I grew up growing up and looking at how fragmented, and particularly the black community is, stemming from the black family, you don't have that sense of long history and purpose because it was cut off. I wanted to make sure that my kids understood, who they were and why we're here and what your job is in the future. Like you got to do something in the future with this family name. You gotta add your creativity to it so that we could get to the third and fourth generation of generational wealth. So what motivates me has always been legacy, kids, legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great story and how you put it and how you elaborated on it. And, you tell your kids, listen, you have to build upon this. All
Oh
right.
yeah,
It's going to stop. It's going to stop with me at a certain point, and then it's up to you to build it and keep our legacy going, keep our tradition going, keeping our family name going in a good way and in a positive way, and staying in a positive light. And I agree with you 100%, brother. And I mean, we have really been forced into a different way of living this pandemic and the COVID, and
yeah,
promised to myself that I was going to come out on the other side of this thing better than when I went into it. And then that's how my podcast developed and a couple of other things that I'm working on myself. And so, how have you been handling COVID? Staying busy creating.
yeah. Man, the way that I handle, let's use another word, crisis, right? Crisis. When you make plans, we actually was planning to get married last year. We were planning to tour. We
Mm,
were gonna go to 7 different countries and get married in 7 different countries. Like we had a whole plan. I was gonna take a little break from from doing all of the stuff I do and just chill and we just enjoy life. You work so hard, and then you got to get to the point where you stop enjoying. So what I've seen is that with everything else, because my clients turn to me um, when it was inevitable that you know we were on lockdown and nobody knew what was going to happen. When first of all, when we were going to be out, and then secondly, how would the world look when we return? What would be normal, or what would be the new normal? Will we get back to normal, or is there a new normal? So I had to actually go into action, and part of brand architecture is the study of causality. It's a study of psycho physics, understanding how people respond to external stimuli. So I basically went in and did some research and saw that there were many opportunities after looking at some of the things that happened, right? That there were many opportunities. And I actually pull up my documents so I could share some of those things a little bit later so I could share my mindset going through a crisis. Number one, first of all, uh, it was John D. Rockefeller who said, the time to invest is when there's blood in the streets and in the middle of crisis, right? We've seen that with real estate. Real estate right now is booming, right? It is booming. Not only that, we have the introduction of cryptocurrencies, which is booming, right? At the beginning of, at the begin, exactly. At the beginning of the pandemic, you had Bitcoin that was trading for $8,000. Now that joint is up to about $61,000 for one Bitcoin. So so there's always an opportunity. You can either listen to the people who are crying about all of the things that they don't have and being afraid of what is coming, as opposed to listening to the people who are saying, oh, there is opportunities and here's what we are doing. Not being fearful of what is coming, right? So the way I've been dealing with it is the way that I deal with everything that looks like a bad thing, right? Because there is a yin and yang, right? If listen, if you were right-hander and you going to lay up, there's an opportunity and there's a problem, right? So either I could get on your right side so that I could move your ball away from that rim, or I could stay in your left and let you hang over me and dunk on me. Right. So it's always an opportunity. So I think that's the way that I've approached it. And to be honest with you, it's been pretty decent. It's been pretty decent.
Yes, absolutely. We got tonight. We got the group, and this has prompted me to the next question I'm gonna ask you because we got the group over here. Lucrece over there saying whoop whoop. Um, and then she said, "Hey THOC family, my cousin Ace out there, what's good? Giving us the strong arm. Yeah, in my THOC voice," said Carolyn Ellison. Delantro, the brand blueprint crane. How about who is Delano's most? What's your most memorable mentor? They want to know more about your mentor. Um,
Yeah.
and, they say that although they know him briefly, they'd like to know more details about your mentor, and we will definitely get back to that because people want to, hear about how you survived through COVID, and you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. Adrian Goodson over here with my man
Right.
Delano A. Johnson in the house today, chopping it up. He's an author. He's a brand architect. He's telling us how to be creative through these tough times. Okay? When tough times come, tough people last. Tough times
Yeah.
don't. And so we're going to keep chopping it up. I love this conversation. You're on Clubhouse. And this is how I met you over there, bro. I appreciate you in the house of creativity. I told you that you guys were my tugboat in the channel, coming through, and you're coming through the waters, and you're almost there, and you're in the finish line. And then all of a sudden, it just gets harder. Things start
Yeah.
coming at you harder. Obstacles start to get tighter. As you starting to birth this baby, and we all trying to birth this baby. And so I want to say thank you to you, brother, in your face. Usually I'm looking at you on the Clubhouse app. We just have voices. Now I get to say thank you. I appreciate you. Much love. I see all of the hearts are going up right now. You're on Clubhouse. Please
Yeah.
explain it and your space on that platform.
Yeah. Yo, so listen, Goody man. The first thing midway around the end of November, um, helping some clients to determine some of the things. And matter of fact, I want to do this right quick because I want to explain to you some of the things that happened, right? So here's the thing. During COVID, right? Here's what happened. Here's where people were. 79% of people were on their mobile devices for more than 12 hours a day. 62% were watching streaming services, your Netflix and your Amazon Prime, right? They were doing that for 9 hours a day. You ain't got to go to job on your job, right? You're working from home, so your work schedule is all messed up. You got kids who you're teaching if you got kids home from school, but you're on right streaming services 9 hours a day. 49% of them were reading books. 25% of those books were reading hard copy books. So they wanted to find something away from the digital screens, so they were buying books. Amazon saw increasing book sales. 85%, there was an 85% rise in domestic disputes. Right? You had two people who was used to saying goodbye, kissing goodbye at 8, 9 o'clock, and then reconvening at 6, 7 o'clock. And now you have all of this time in the middle there. People, you finally got to meet your spouse for the first time. Right? You had 58% of the population playing board games, puzzle games, 4 to 9 times a week on an average of about 2 to 3 hours per day. You had 45% of them playing strategy video games. Another 18% were working on home improvement projects just to keep busy. Along with that, 98% of the people was concerned, losing stress, right? Having stress about losing their jobs. You had 65% who was most likely to have a change in their business focus. We saw that. You had major brands closing up their brick and mortar because now we were moving to a click and order uh, economy. So then we had 65% sorry, 32% of millennials who found ways of making more money during COVID. You hear what I'm saying? 32% of millennials. While on top of that, 65% of the entertainers and speakers and artists were losing more than 73% of their yearly income. In other words, entertainers was home trying to figure out what they're going to do. So when we look at all of this information from an aggregate standpoint, all we could see is opportunities. Hence, when my son sent me this app and said, Dad, you got to get on this. I'm like, oh God, what is this? Another social media? He say, no, man. He said, you got to get on this. When I hopped on there and I realized a loop had happened. See, back in the 80s, there was a song that Video Killed a Radio Star.
Yeah.
I always knew, right, coming back, because there's always a loop. This is how things happen. There's always a loop. Things come back. It may be a little bit different technology, but the radio star is back in effect. If you could host a radio show, if you got a great voice, if you've been doing podcasting, right now you are a major player in the economy we call the content creator economy, right? If you got a great voice, if you got a great personality, you know how to carry a conversation, right? If you know how to do all those things right now, it is your moment. It is your. So I jump on there, not really knowing. I just went on there to actually investigate and see what this app is all about. I get up on there, and immediately people start following me. Before I knew it, I had 1,000 followers. Now, when you look at the power of that, I could place photos and ads and videos on Facebook and Instagram, and I still don't really engage at the deep human-to-human algorithm level as you would talking to somebody about a mutual topic or subject, having a conversation and an exchange, a two-way conversation, not just visual stimulation from my picture and you liking it or not liking it. You see, I can right now, I can't fake this. Either I'm here or I'm not. Right? with my photos, I could doctor them up, I could Photoshop them, I could put filters on it, all this stuff. But with this audio app, right, which Clubhouse is, the audio dropping app, you could talk to people, and man, people started following. Before I knew it, I had 10,000 followers within just 2 months. And I'm like, these are all people who are following me to a room, who are interested in the topics and subjects that I'm talking about. So it was amazing. And before I knew it, we had a tribe, and I realized that, hold on, this actual tool can help me get to a lot of my goals a lot quicker because I'm building rapport and resonating with my people, with my tribe, with my audience. So that in and of itself, man, that's what Clubhouse is. And I just saw it as an opportunity like everything else, seeing where I know people were going to be on this app for a bunch of hours, right? Because I saw all the data that this is what they were doing. Right? So this was just another social media to them, something else to fill the void of all the extra time they had at home, driving to work, driving from work, right? So all of these things just made a lot of sense, and that's how we jumped on it.
Woo! I'll tell you what, you gotta save some of that for your book. You know what I'm saying? Like all of this knowledge that you're giving up, I appreciate it. You're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I got my man Delano A. Johnson on here right now. You know what I'm saying? All of the family out here, just streaming it. Tiff Countryman is out there. Mitos is out there. Came on. Leslie Williams on there. Monique out there. Kerry out there. Valerie out there. You know, we just got a lot of love. Malikia out there, Patty out there. Of course, you know, she holding it down strong. Carol out there. Lucrece, we love you, baby. We're going to keep moving. You know, WNBA State of Mind style.
That's right. That's right. WNBA State of Mind. The success and the mentality to win. Like, you got to have that mentality to win and bring home the goal, bring home that trophy.
All we do is win, 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 no matter.
Win.
No matter what.
And even when you lose, listen, Goody, even when you lose, you figure out how to win, right? Right? Yeah. Even when you lose, you turn that into a playbook of what not to do for the day. So you got tomorrow, right? You start tomorrow with not with a blueprint of what not to do on top of what you know how to do and what to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You learn more from losing than you do winning. I learned that being a baller all of my life. There was so
Yeah.
many valuable lessons in learning what not to do again.
Yeah.
I won't
Yeah.
follow that path again. Lucrece, I love your back. We got a lot of people out here pushing for us, supporting us, loving on us, and I appreciate that. Off of the clubhouse question, everybody has something that they do on a daily.
Mhm.
Joke around a lot in the morning. When I come on, I say the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. I love that. I don't drink coffee all every day, but it's just something about that smell of coffee that gets you going. Even if I'm not gonna have a cup of coffee, that
Right.
smell of that coffee lets you know that it is go time.
Yeah.
So now that we're talking about food and different things like that, what is your recipe? I get up in the morning, I got my routine, yada, 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 because routine is important,
Yeah.
to train your brain and to get yourself. When COVID happened, I promised myself that I wouldn't sleep in. I wouldn't stay in my pajamas all day. I wasn't going to walk around with bedhead. I wasn't going to look like, you know, COVID was doing me. I wanted to
Mm.
look like I was handling it. Even if at times I wasn't, I still wanted to play the part of getting up in the morning, getting myself dressed, getting ready to go to school, to teach, and then after school I'm coaching. And even though that wasn't happening, I still had a routine. I get up in the morning, make my coffee, get dressed, go take my walk, work out, come home, get creative, work on my ideas, my podcast, be creative because I don't know anything else other than being creative because I'm a Libra. So nation stand up. And it's just that's the way that it is. What is
Mm.
your recipe, your daily recipe? And I want to say congratulations to you and Mo for today starting back on your training regimen.
Yes. Yes.
Okay?
Yes. I love this quote. A wise woman once said, "Don't work out because you hate your body. Work out because you love your body." Quote, Adrian M. Goodson. Bam. And if you really sink into the psychology of that quote, because we do it for the reverse. We do it because we don't like how we look. No, if you do it because you love your body, it'll take you it'll take you into the regiment and the pain of it, right? Like most of the things we do it because we love it. And if you love that, if you remind yourself that you love your body is the vehicle that takes you to and through your purpose. So you need this mechanism. You need this machine to help you to develop, to self actualize. So for me, one of the things has always been number one, wake up and pray. Number two, you got to get some sun. Depending on the time, the season, I grew up all summer, and even though it's been a long time since I've been here, I'm being in this four-season environment. I used to like to go out on the beach, and get that sun. So whenever the sun is out, man, you go out and you just get some vitamin D, original organic vitamin D. Go in the sun and just let that light just brighten up, not only just waking up your cells and wake up your mind, but take a sun bath, right? And then again, I usually start with some um, some thought, some quote or some thought, and take a moment to just meditate on the list that I created the night before. My list to do start the nights before. So I don't have my list done when I wake up. I have my list of things to do before I go to sleep the day before. So I kind of look over it, and then I just start to think and meditate on those things of, what I think should happen, and what do I want to see, what the success look like. I think that's extremely important, understanding what success look like. So when you hit that, there's a register in your mind that says, I like this behavior, right? So you're programming yourself to do those things that you like, that you get this agreement with. So your body and your mind says, I like this. When you have success, let's keep doing this right here. We had success with that. We like how that feels. We like the dopamine rush, right? We love how that feels. So it creates this loop. So I used to go over that, and then I start to think about specifically, and this is something new, what do I want to see happen and prepare for the House of Creativity? Because we got our 8 a.m. intention setting, creative intention setting, and accountability, which I have, listen, there's a couple of things I can truly say that I love. But when that time comes, I am excited. I am like, ooh, I can't wait. You know, what's going to happen? What conversation we going to get into? What's Goody going to talk about? What nuggets she's going to drop? What nuggets somebody's going to drop? Extemporaneously, what conversation we're going to lead into. So it's always such an awesome opportunity for me to just think about what's going to happen and then anticipate when we get on live at 8 o'clock on Clubhouse, the House of Creativity. So that right there, besides the fact that, me and Monique may have breakfast together, not all the time. We don't get to do that all the time, but most of the time we have breakfast together. So that's typically what my morning is. If I don't get out to the gym, I got my 1,000 push-ups regiment per day that I do. So, I keep it locked, man. Yeah. Keep it locked.
Woo, woo. And we're going to get to your book because you talking about your internal mental projections, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And actually, just kind of the old way of saying it, prophecy over yourself and see yourself in that light and speak yourself into existence,
Yeah.
and take your way into existence and all of those things that's necessary. And you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. Rolling it back, my boy Delano A. Johnson in the house. All of my people, Kim Barnes, what's up? Shout out to VA. Got my section vaccine. You know I'm coming. We in the backyard cooking out. Want my steak. What up, Kim B? Love you, girl. In the house. I appreciate everybody on the show. Please share this. Please like this.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Download it. Support the downloads. Support that thing, WNBA State of Mind over there on them platforms that I got it. Discuss the importance of being creative, writing down thoughts, and we always have to constantly motivate ourselves. A lot of times we're sitting around hoping that something will happen that'll motivate us, hoping something will happen that'll make us happy, hoping something will happen to take us to the next level, hoping that God's going to reach down out of the sky and take you and morph you and just carry and put you in another situation. Don't happen that way. You got to go through the process. Got to be creative. Got to write down your thoughts. Got to stay motivated. This game is not easy. Only the strong survive. Talk to us about that, Delano.
Yeah. So listen, life, let me just say this. Everything is easy when you train yourself how to do it. Everything is hard when you don't know what in the world you do. You don't know how to play chess. It's hard, difficult to figure out what in the world they're doing. To anticipate that move and be able to create a counter move before they move one play on the board. Dribbling, right, with your left hand, if you're a righty, may be difficult, right? Shooting a bow and arrow, archery, may be difficult. But once you learn the secrets of how to do it, it becomes easy. So everything starts out hard. But everything could become easy with patience and practice. That's the two recipes that you need to get to the place where that thing that you're trying to do, you can master it. But you got to get some patience, you got to have some patience, and you got to have some practice. So I welcome and look for things that's hard, because it means that I'm entering into a new phase. I'm entering into something different. I'm sharpening my skills. I'm growing my skills, right? So I'm getting to another place. I'm becoming better in another area. I'm widening my abilities, my response to the world around me, being able to respond to new things and unfamiliar things, learning. Right? I learn 4 new words a day and try to implement those words every single day. Right? So it's all about looking for new ways to grow and strengthen your muscles, your memory muscle and your physical muscle. And that's what takes you through every single challenge. Growing, knowing, persevering, but you got to practice. You got to have patience first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% on that. And, I finishing up with the last question I wanted to ask you because I wanted you to elaborate on this. I can tell you that Mo sent the book to me when I was in Atlanta.
Mm,
Okay. I was supposed to get the book on Saturday. And Mo, I hope you got your money. I was supposed to get the book on Saturday. The book comes on Monday when I already left.
mm.
So now it's on its way here. So the book is getting mileage. The book getting mileage, baby. So hopefully we'll get that many people
Mm,
to buy the book. The mileage that it took to go from
mm,
New York to Atlanta, back up here to us,
mm.
New Jersey, near Staten Island. So I hope that you get as many people buying that book in mileage that book
Yeah,
got in the last couple of days. Discuss your book, Refuse to Live, Talented and Broke.
yeah.
Okay? Your mom is your motivation and still continues to motivate you at this time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. My mother is my number one inspiration. Even though she's no longer here, she's transitioned on. She is with the ancestors now up in heaven. Like like Les Brown saying, she making some great sweet potato pie, for the heavenly host. But no, my mother was the number one inspiration, man. She made me feel like I could do everything. Now even though I had great success, I was a millionaire by 33. It was a couple of years off of my schedule as a kid. I wanted to do that by 25, but I got married at 25. Right, so I would have been had to been making I would have had to been 6 figures by 19. Right. Um, So, so I made my first million at 33. Had all the things I want: wife, house with a white picket fence, 2 car garage. Actually, I had a 3 car garage. Didn't get a dog named Spot, but we got a dog named Spot right now in the House of Creativity, right? And I wanted to have those things because even though my father was successful around about 17 when I was graduating from high school, he lost everything. This is one of the reasons why legacy became even more important to me because I saw my father went from being, you know, the man. He was like that guy, right? And then having 3 homes, 7 boats, 3 of them were yachts, and living on the canal, 2 houses on the canal. And I'm like, he was my hero. And then graduating from school, and he's broke. He's in a 1 bedroom apartment. Ironically, I experienced the same thing. By 30, made my first money at 33. By 39, I was sleeping in my car. And I was trying to figure out how does this happen? How does this happen? So I was depressed, suicidal, had a attempted suicide because when you experience failure on that level, right? I had started a project to build a water park in the Bahamas. Had some characters I developed. The first one in my country developed an animation series, Kokomon and the Fruity Tunes. And I had all this success. All my dreams were coming true, and then it all came to a screeching halt. And it was difficult for me mentally to really deal with that loss. I read over 300 books, and man, I'm telling you, I started to realize that number one, I wasn't alone. When I look at how Oprah started and what she went through, when I look at all of these movie stars, everybody from Sammy Davis Jr., right, all the way to Mike Tyson, right? All of these individuals who had, I mean, mega money, but then at some point, either they lost it all They lost most of it. Somebody like a Johnny Carson, right, who lost half of his wealth after he was divorced. Somebody like Ed McMahon who came on TV and had to ask his friends, to help him save his home. How does this happen? We think having a lot of money is the answer to having no money. That ain't it. And so, Goody, I just started to read all these books and I started to find out that actually financial education is one aspect, right? And I had some financial education, but it was mostly based on how to manage debt or leverage debt. It wasn't all the other stuff. Like, how do you know when you can afford something? My answer was based on, debt management, right? Not the fact that one of my mentors said to me, when he asked me the question, I didn't know the answer. I didn't know the answer, or it wasn't the answer that he wanted to hear. And he taught me that you can afford something when you can purchase that 7 times over from your petty cash account, which is one of 7 of your accounts, one of your 7 accounts. So when you really look at it, whatever your heart's desire, you can afford that if you got that sitting in your petty account. In other words, you could spend that and it doesn't touch your legacy accounts, it doesn't touch your investment accounts, it doesn't touch your giving account, it doesn't touch any other account. So that was really something. And so I basically extracted about 100 principles from all these books I read. Malcolm Gladwell's books, What the Dog Saw, The Tipping Point, Outliers, Jack Welch's books. I read Adam Smith's book, The Wealth of Nations, who's considered the father of modern economics. And I wrote this book because a lot of my friends was having the same issues. And I came up with this title, Refuse to Live Talented and Broke, because I remember saying that when I was in high school, and I was saying that I didn't want to be like my father, who had all this money when I was a kid, but then he had nothing when I was graduating high school, making a decision to go to college, where he had nothing. He couldn't help me to do anything. And so it was really my mother, man, who just a wonderful, wonderful, not just inspiration in my life, but she was a go-getter, man. My mother was a go-getter. So the book really centers around on these 10 principles from the 107 principles that I extracted from the 300 books that I read. These things that actually keep us talented and broke. You could have all the willpower in the world. You could be reciting it every day, write it on your mirror. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be rich. But if you don't have these principles down, like, for example, Goody, right? The 6th reason why you could be talented and broke in the book is because you have too many spectators in your life and not enough team players. You got too many spectators waiting for you to succeed, but they won't do no work. They waiting for you to succeed so they can get all the glory. Come on the court like Kevin Hart rush on the court on the field, after the Super Bowl, and they were like, "Hey, you wasn't at those practices." You know what I mean? You was in there sweating, and fussing with the coach, and you were in there putting in them hours, to be the champ. So you can't hold this trophy, bro. You famous, but you ain't you famous, but you ain't put in the work. Not on this field, right? So you have to put in that time, and the people around you, they got to put in that time. And if you got a bunch of people around you, right, taking up weight and space in your life, waiting for you to succeed, those relationships will not only be the death of you, but they will always hold you back. Look for the people who are team players. You got to learn how to win alone, and most importantly, you have to learn how to win with a team. You got to learn how to win with a team.
You're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. Get you some. Delano Wade Johnson right there, giving you some knowledge. Okay, go get the book, Talented, Refuse to Live Talented and Broke. Interesting topic. It's just absolutely incredible. Where can people find that book? Where can they find the book? Where can they find you? All of your handles. What's up? I wish you had a book. You hold it up, but
Oh yeah, yeah. This is right here. This is the book right here. So listen, where you can get this from is pretty easy. Talentedandbroke.com. You go there, and listen. It's just not a book because I wanted to take you through the journey of actually doing the work so that you could change. We're talking about the WNBA state of mind, right? That state of mind requires you reprogramming the mind you have right now. Because if you are broke right now, the mind you have got you exactly what you have currently. Your present mind gets you what you have currently, presently in your present. And if you want something different, you gotta go with it. You gotta lead with a different mind. And so I take you through the journey of how not only I show you these particular things that's causing you to live in this loop of Townsend and Broke, but I take you through the process of how do you redesign your life by reprogramming your mind. Like for example, Goody, here's what I found out, right? I didn't realize that there was this branch of science called epigenetics. Now, I told you that my dad lost everything at a certain age, which was around the same time I lost everything. But when I dug a little bit deeper, guess what, Goody? I found out that my grandfather, who was the first black person in the Bahamas to own and run a dry cleaning business, had a contract with the Royal Bahamas Police Force. So he was the first person to do that. But guess what happened? When he hit the same age my father was and around where I was at the same time, after making all of this money, he hit that ceiling, bam, things started to go south. So I had to figure out what in the world happened. See, because sometimes what the epigenetics is this, the supposition, which is this is a branch of human behavior science. Supposition is that we are predisposed to make the same decisions of our parents when placed in the same scenarios. What I learned is that our genes, right, our DNA records behavior, not just physiological and biological information to structure and to build our physical structure, but it also gives clues to our mind and our brain as when we're placed in external stimuli situations, when we're placed in situations where there is a specific level of stress. Oh, hey, we know how to respond to that. We have some data on responding to that. Where did the data come from? Your great grandparents, your grandparents, your parents. Oh, here's how you deal with it. So automatically, the brain sends a taste for alcohol. It sends a taste for drugs. It sends a taste for indulging in sex. It sends a taste for all of these different things, gambling, right? And that's how you respond. So that's why you may be struggling with something right now, and you think it's just you. You think it's just you. No, 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 no. I show you how to reverse engineer your challenges, your problems, and go right back to your great grandparents. And even if they're not alive, I show you, I take you through the journey of seeing exactly who they were so that you can know what you're working with. Because you have in your DNA and in your genes their responses to the world around them. And you have to knowingly, right, reprogram your cognitive mapping as to how you respond to things around you. So this book takes you through some of that. The next book in the series is Talented and Successful. That's a little bit more deeper, but this book gives you the platform so that you identify the 10 main culprits, the causes of why you keep making money, then you lose it. Making money, right? And you can't get past that plateau. You hit 5 figures, okay, good, I want to get to 6 figures. You almost hit 6 figures, now you back down to make it 5. So how do you stop that loop? That's what Talented and Broke, refusing to be talented and broke, helps you to accomplish.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I can't wait till it hits the doorstep. I can't wait. You know, maybe somebody, maybe the postman opened it up and started reading it. I don't know. He said, "Hi,
That actually happened.
what's going on?" You know, make them get my book. That's what they do. Feel me? You're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I appreciate you coming on the show, blood. My
All right.
guest, special guest, Sir Delano A. Johnson, author, brand architect, Clubhouse, where you can find them. Also, Instagram. Give us your handles, bruh. Take us at
Hey,
it.
yeah, everything is at Delano A. Johnson. You get me on Clubhouse. If you on Clubhouse, hit me up. Just type in my name, Delano A. Johnson. You need to come to our club. The House of Creativity is the name of our club. We call it THOC. But we got a whole bunch of programming. If you are an artist, you're an entertainer, you're an entrepreneur, you're an inventor, that's the place for you in the creative arts, performing arts, applied science arts. If you are there, an architect, this is the place for you. This is the club for you. Definitely want to join. And the place to do that is you can go to thehouseofcreativity.club. Thehouseofcreativity.club. You can go around and check out the website and become a member today. That's how you get in contact with us, and that's how you're going to stay connected.
Absolutely. Distinctive mark is the apple, and it's not the big one. Delano, I love you, boy. I appreciate you too, and to everyone out there, I love you. Thank you for coming on the show. Sunday brunch, a state of mind with Goody, my guest, Delano A. Johnson, on here today. And if you have it, if you're a podcaster, go download it. It is on most platforms. Also, download that book, Refuse to Live Talented and Broke. My legacy fund is coming from Bitcoin. It is coming from Dogecoin. Dogecoin is doing it big. Okay, Patty gave me the tip on Filecoin. So if you don't do anything but go up there and just go on Robinhood and start your little account, $10, go ahead, try it out. I bet you'll like it. And then you got Carol over here putting up all of them apples. Give me my apple. I'ma holla at you later. I love y'all. Sammy Sosa in the house, baby. Enjoy the rest of your day, love.